What is going on, guys? I am Jaye Black here. Shout out to everybody that's tuning in. I want to talk about Candace Parker, and I want to have a discussion with you about her and Sheldon Williams. I did a video about her and him and their separation last year. You can go and check it out. And I spoke about how she basically had to pay him $400,000 plus split the whatever the money they got from selling the house. You know, she basically had to pay alimony to him to basically go away. Now, of course, she's not going to pay child support. I believe he could have gotten that from her if he would have, took the issue further. But of course, us as men, we can't press women for, child support. Only men can get pressed for child support. But women, nah, because it's morally wrong. But I'm gonna talk about the truth about this situation, and I'm not being sarcastic. I truly believe that this may be in part because of Candace Parker's push for equality. Now, if those of you don't know who she is a WNBA player. She played at the University of Tennessee. That's where a lot of people really got familiar with her. She played for their legendary women's coach, Pat Summitt. And she was a great player there. Then she went to the WNBA. And of course, nobody watches the WNBA. And I think I'm going to discuss the WNBA a bit in this situation. But back to her separation. You have women out here like Candace Parker, who's fighting for equality, right? But you look at her separation, it was the perfect situation. She basically, she married a guy who was in the NBA for a little while. He made $12 million. But at the end of that marriage, she was seen as someone who made more money than him. So obviously she's making money, right? Now, I was looking at this article from Complex, and they talked about how she put on a basketball camp, right? Now, she was going to do an all-girls basketball camp, right? She was going to do an all-girls basketball camp. But she said, you know what? I need to teach young boys how to be more respectful to young girls and to be more chivalrous and seek to empower them. So she had it to where it was sort of like, both, young boys and young girls at her basketball camp. Now, the only speakers were her contemporaries in the WNBA. And there was one thing that happened during it, right? One of the speakers told the boys to turn to the girls and say, hey, I got your back. Trying to program these young boys into, being white knights for them, And, the article was from Refinery. I'm sorry. And I just look at this and I just shake my head because the WNBA isn't the reason. WNBA. I don't think that men are just hating on the WNBA. I don't think men are trying to oppress them and keep them from gaining the financial success that they want. The WNBA sucks because, other women don't support it. Women are not going to support something that's not, thriving, that is not popular. Why do you think the gaming community, a lot of females are going into the gaming community? Because it's become popular. It's a part of pop culture now. Look at sports. Look at football. Why you got all these females talking about sports now? 5-10 years ago, they didn't like sports. Now they want to pretend like they follow sports on social media. I see it every day on YouTube. You got women who are going into certain content creators chat rooms and comment sections because they want to be a part of the conversation when a lot of them bring nothing to the conversation whatsoever, and they wonder why they just don't fit in. And I'm looking at Candace Parker, and it's like, I see why maybe her marriage, it was so amicable, and she was able to cut that check to Sheldon because she truly believes in gender equality. And this might be a very good step for her. But I just think that Candace has to understand that you can't sit here and point the finger at men because the WNBA isn't successful. There's a lot of women out here who have a lot of spending power, who could watch your sport, who don't care. They could buy jerseys. They don't care. Okay? And when I look at the jealousy and the envy that WNBA's players have for NBA players, the contempt, no matter how much NBA players try to embrace them. You had one basketball player who was chastised for, posting a video saying that he supports his in-state WNBA team. These females will never be satisfied. They are envious because people care a lot more about the NBA than they do the WNBA. And Candace Parker is pushing that narrative. Her and her teammates, who are widely jealous of NBA players. And what's funny is that Candace Parker is saying that they're not getting the money that they deserve, but you're cutting a check to your ex-husband. So obviously you're making very good money, Candace. I just think that you have it. What happens is when you see that the male NBA players, they get so much. They have the really nice locker rooms. They fly on these, private planes, and you're envious of that. Those guys make the NBA a lot of money. Okay. And I will tell you, despite all the social justice BS that the NBA players like to push, they are still not going to satisfy these envious, greedy females in the WNBA. And one way I think they wanted to satisfy them is putting them in the 2K video game, as if anybody's going to care. Ask any casual female who plays 2K, ask her, is she eager to play with the WNBA players? She's not even gonna know who they are. Okay? But having a basketball camp and teaching gender equality to these young boys, I think that the one thing she should speak about is her marriage and the fact that she was able to say, you know what, I don't care that I'm female. I'm not seeking to gain anything from him. I want to go ahead and just, pay him to go away. I'm not going to pay any child support, which that's very slick, and, just walk away without any financial bind in the situation. You have joint custody. I just think that, the Candace Parkers of the world, they are walking the walk. And I think that one of the first steps to equality for them, especially for her, is that she was able to get out of that marriage, and she was able to be equal to men financially in these same situations that men get into, where the women will go to court. Not only do they want spousal support, they want child support, they want the house. They don't want you to get none of the profits from the house. As a matter of fact, they're going to keep the house, and if they sell it, you're not getting none of it. They want at least one of the cars. They want full custody. Look at the divorces that are going on now. Look at what's going on with Kevin Garnett. Last time I checked, Kevin, his wife is still trying to get a substantial amount of money. Not only is she trying to get cut a big check, she also wants close to over 6 figures a month. And she wants full custody. Just greedy for no reason. And this was a woman who walked down the aisle and said she loved this guy. And what's interesting is that you still have not heard one bad word about KG throughout that whole divorce, because she doesn't have anything bad to really say about him, because she knows deep down that man worked hard to provide her the lifestyle she had. And as soon as he retired from the league, she was ready to bounce, because she was no longer able to live single while being married. That's what these male pro athletes have to deal with. They got to deal with separating and getting took into the cleaners. But Candace Parker can leave her relationship by cutting one check, getting joint custody, not having to pay no child support, and it's that. So if there's anybody who can be a spokesperson for gender equality, I believe Candace Parker can be that person. But I don't like this narrative, about trying to teach young boys to be white knights, trying to teach young boys to speak up and stand up for women and, give them their just due, what they deserve. What about what you earn? How can you teach about equality, but then you're asking people to give you stuff? Like, that doesn't make any sense. You have to earn. And I don't think earning is in the vocabulary of a lot of westernized women anymore. They think that they're supposed to get what they have based off of them being female. And that's not how it works. This is why no one watches the WNBA. No one cares. But you want to blame men for that. You want to blame men for why nobody cares about the WNBA, even though there's a ton of women who could watch the WNBA, but they don't. And what's very funny is that they're opting out of the CBA as if they're going to get more money, even though they're taking a loss. And by the way, those same toxic males in the NBA, those guys are supplementing the money that you make. They're supplementing your league, and they're taking a loss. What's interesting is that the NFL had an opportunity to supplement the AAF. Y'all remember the AAF from earlier this year? And they chose not to do it because they knew that they would take a heavy loss. And they just said, nah, financially, that's not for us. But because they wanted, the NBA wanted to help women out, they helped get their league going, and they're funding it. And they're not gaining anything from it, but just lack of, disrespect and a bunch of this ain't good enough. They helped you get on your feet. You're supposed to make do with what you have. And the reason why you're not making do with what you have, because you know that you're not talented enough. You don't have what it takes. And I don't think that's in the vocabulary of a lot of these particular type of females, But as far as Candace Parker is concerned, again, I think that she has demonstrated in her own personal life that she's willing to be equal, But I just hope that she can teach other women that instead of trying to teach men that,